if function in Microsoft Excel is possibly the most commonly used logical function, and it's pretty simple to write an if function. It has got a pretty simple syntax. However, sometimes there are chances that we get confused with the syntax, and we might not be able to use it properly. So I'm gonna try and simplify this if function for you, and try to help you with the syntax and how it should be written. So first of all, let's quickly understand what exactly this if function is. If function is one of the most popular functions in Excel, as I said, one of the most popular functions in Excel, and it allows you to make logical comparisons between a value and what you expect. So what you are expecting versus what is the actual value in a certain cell, you can compare that, and based on the comparison, you have the option of uh, you know uh, supplying the values for both the conditions. If the comparison is true or if it is false, what you want to do, you can actually mention those things. So let's have a quick look at the syntax. Syntax is pretty simple. So it actually requires three arguments. All of them are not required. The first two arguments are required, and then we have an optional argument here. So first one is the logical test, then value if true and value if false. This value if false is an optional argument or an optional parameter. Let's look into the parameters a little more in details. The first one is the logical test. Now this is where you define the condition. The condition that you want to test needs to be written in this section. So this parameter should hold the condition that you want to test. For example, you want, if you're comparing if the value of x is greater than 10 or not. So that x greater than 10 is the condition that you have to write here. Okay. Now, second parameter is value if true. So if x is greater than 10, then what do you want to do? That should be written here. The value that you want returned if the result of logical test is true. So if the logical test needs to be written or needs to be supplied as the first parameter. Value if true will have the value that you want to be want returned if the logical test is true, and the same way value if false. So this is the parameter where you need to supply the value that you want returned if the result of logical test is false. However, this one is optional. The first two are required, and this one is optional. So to understand this if function, we will quickly get into an Excel spreadsheet, and we will do a small example with this to understand this a little better. Give me one quick moment. I'll open a spreadsheet. Here we have a spreadsheet. Yes. Okay, so I've got a spreadsheet, and it's a very simple example that I'm going to do here. So I've got a few students listed here, and then I have got their scores, their respective scores listed here. What I'm trying to do here is I'm actually trying to grade the students based on the score. Okay, so let's say we have got a simple logic. Any one having a score, we will take a simple example first, and then I'll do another one with multiple if conditions. So first one that I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to grade the students into the these two logics. Score greater than 60 should be grade A, and score less than 60 should be grade B. Right? Anything below that, or let's say 0 to 60. Yeah, let me keep that one only. Okay, so that's grade B. All right, so that's what we want to do. Anyone who has scored greater than 60 should be marked as grade A, and the other one should be marked as grade B. So that's what we are going to do. So this is where we start writing the if function. Logical test. What is the logical test? Logical test is score greater than 60. What do you want to do if this is true? So if the score is greater than 60, we just need to write grade A. Yeah, so that's what I want to be returned. And if it is false, then what do you want to do? Then I want to put a grade B here. That's it. Press enter. Yeah, so uh, that's the function we have written here. All right. So while you're using these arrow keys, while you're typing these functions, there's one small thing that you might struggle with at times. While you're using these arrow keys, you will need to switch between using the arrow keys within the function, and sometimes you want your arrow keys to be used to move from one cell to the other cell. So right now it's actually, when I'm using the arrow keys, when I move left or right, it's actually moving left, right within the function. Sometimes you might want to, move the cells. So you just have to do an F2, press F2 once, and then it starts taking, it starts moving the cells. And again, you press F2 and it starts moving within the function. So this is something which can be, useful and pretty handy while you're writing the functions. And at the same time, you want to take the reference of other cells, you can use this. So let me just press enter here. I think should be fine. Grade. Okay, I've given a wrong reference here. Anyways, so yeah, so three sections here are, first one is whether the score is greater than 60. If it is true, then put a grade A, and if it is not true, then put a grade B. That's it. So any score which is greater than 60, you can see grade A against that. Scores which are less than 60, even a score which is equal to say A, which is equal to 60, that will be put, graded as B, because that's what my logic is. So only greater than 60 will be considered grade A, and everything else will be considered grade B. You can actually, write another thing here. You can make it greater than equal to 60 if you want 60 to be included in grade A. So that's something which we can work on. Okay. Now this was a simple one. Now let's make it a little complex, or let's include one more logic here. So I say that, okay, score score which is greater than 40 and less than 60, that should be grade C. Score less than 40 should be grade C. Sorry, I think I've used the wrong thing here. Yeah. Okay. So now I want to put three criteria. Score greater than 60 should be grade A. Between the range of 40 to 60 should be grade B, and less than 40 should be grade C. So now let's do that. In this case, we need two if conditions. So we will just start with if function here, logical test. So first condition is score greater than 60. So this greater than 60. Grade A. Now, value if false. This is where, so if it is not greater than 60, then there are still two more conditions, or at least one condition that I'll have to execute, and there are two more possible outcomes, right? So I'm going to write another if statement here, and inside this if statement, I will write another logical test. Another logical test is if score greater than 40 or not. Yeah, if that is true, then put grade B, otherwise put grade C. Yep. Now if we look into this, so any score which is less than 40 is grade C, greater than 60 is grade A, and between 40 and 60 is grade B, like this one. Right. So similarly, if you have one more level, think of it. If you have one more level, let's say we have got something like and score less than 20 will be grade D. So if we have got something like this, then you can add one more if logic here. And this, you should add one more if condition. So that's something which I'll leave up to you guys. And that's something which I would want you guys to try out.